My current educational settings. Welcome to Darlington Middle School. I've been working here for 4 years. My current position. I am currently working with Darlington County Schools in South Carolina. I am a certified social studies teacher, middle school 6th through 8th grades. I've been teaching for 4 years. Diplomas for everyone in middle school. We're reaching higher heights. My colleagues, this is the dream team. Teamwork makes the dream work, my boss says. School starts with team action. Seventh grade hall, team, everyone is responsible. Um, the social studies team, only the social studies teachers are involved. The curriculum team, math, science, ELA, and social studies. We're a team everywhere we go. We do nothing in our own strength. We're bouncing ideas off of one another constantly, trying to do the best and for our students. My age group, again, I'm middle school social studies. So my middle school students age from 12 to 14 years of age. My grade level, 6th through 8th grade. And my goal is to get better every day. My goal for my students is to get better every day. So today we're going to talk about the 5 domains of childhood development. Through this process, we will evaluate the whole child. We will focus on physical, social, cognitive, sensory, my 5 senses, and communication at the very end when we're able to communicate our wishes and our desires. Physical domain. Students age group is 12 to 14, middle school. Physical domain, here's the definition. Physical development is one of the many domains of infant and toddler development. It relates to the growth and the skill development of the body, including the brain, muscles, and senses. For example, babies learn the world as they develop. Their physical senses are sight, touch, smell, sound, and taste. Could you do anything without your 5 senses? Could you be great without being able to smell, without being able to see, without being able to touch things, without being able to taste? Because I like food, so that would be a problem for me. So, continuation for physical domain. The milestones for a middle school student. I gave an example of what their milestones may be at 2 to 3 years of age. Physical milestones: running and walking, tripping over their own feet, jumping, hopping, standing on one foot, walking backwards, climbing stairs. Some of these things may be tricky at ages 2 and 3, but look what they're thinking about at age 12 to 14. They'll grow pubic hairs and breasts, and they will see changes in the way their body distributes fat. When boys begin puberty, their voices will deepen. They will start to grow facial hairs and will experience testicular development. Their muscle mass will increase and they may grow several inches in height. Now, as you can see, there's a difference there in the milestones gradual, uh, gradually that has happened to these students. They're worrying about being able to walk straight and stand up straight and to be able to kick and throw a ball. And here at 12 and 14, they're worried about their appearance, what they look like, what's happening to their body, and why these things are happening to their bodies. So this is the physical domain in so many senses. So then we get to your fine motor skills at age 12, adult type tools that they should be able to use at this age level. Children can construct simple structures with wood and basic and sew basic garments. Swimming, improve coordination. At first, you were just paddling in the water, and now you can swim laps. So you are improving as you go your fine motor skills. handwriting becomes more fluent. When you were used to just be scribbling all over the paper, now you can write your name and it's clear and fluent and people can understand it. Uh, Writing speed increases. Um, you're able to write a paragraph. And when at one time you weren't able to do these things, writing can occur well without rules and lines. I still need lines to write, but that works for some 12-year-olds, those that are advanced in their writing skills. Um, so then we get to the gross motor skills. Now, we're still talking about child development now. I don't want to lose you, and we're talking about the physical sense of child development. So, gross motor skills is a part of that process. My students' age range is not found on this chart because my chart is relating to months. But I use this chart because even though they're talking about the age range in months, 6 months, 7th month, 12 months, 13 months, you can still use these same gross motor skills at age groups. At age 12 to 14, students are moving, uh, being able to move from being just a part of the team to trying out for the team and the meaning of competition. So I still feel like you could have used this chart for gross motor skills, and that's why I kind of plugged it in. My students' age range is not found here, but I wanted to display the patterns formed at infancy, early childhood, and which continues on throughout adulthood in gross motor skills. You just get better. So, and then we start talking about Piaget's cognitive theory. Um, this is more of what someone else had to say about this process, and my favorite was Piaget. So I uh, popped in some charts. Piaget's cognitive development at stages. He believes that students learn in cognitive stages. My students fall under the concrete operational stage in this process, meaning that they're going to be able to understand the importance of sequencing important events, which means putting things in order, retelling the story in order. Also, that they're going to be able to read a map and know that there's an order, rules and guidelines to reading a map. And then last but not least, that they should be able to follow instructions and create some type of project from a rubric or something of that nature. So Piaget's cognitive theory is going to follow my students throughout their entire life up until adulthood, adolescence to adulthood, and informal operations, abstract things that they're going to be able to do. But right now, we're just in the process of operational thought, being able to follow instructions and things of that nature. Okay? So, and then Ventura's social cognitive theory, and I just popped in his process, um, the major child development theories, and their stages in his process as well. There's behavior going on. There's some cognitive development going on. There's some social learning going on. So in this process in Ventura, he's basically stating that there are stages here as well that students are going to be able to follow and fall into these categories, especially as far as behavior is concerned. And we'll come back to that in just a second. So, and then we get to Vygotsky's social cognitive and social cultural learning theory. A person's cognitive development is largely influenced by their surroundings. This is what Vygotsky has to say. And the Pearson Reveal noted that children who are exposed to two different languages tend to speak both languages fluently. A child that was exposed to only one language struggled to speak a second language later in life. So basically, Vygotsky says that, if you start at a younger age and started learning these processes, that you will be able to reach your goals later on in life, but you've got to start it early. Is what Vygotsky has to say, and that of course that your surroundings are influenced. Your cognitive thinking is influenced by your surroundings, your culture, how you grew up, how your parents do things, how your friends do things, and how your school is actually set up as well. That's what I'm thinking, cultural learning, because South Carolina is going to be different from North Carolina as far as education is concerned. And North Carolina is going to be totally different from Tennessee, which is where I'm from. And the concept may still be the same, but uh, the content will be quite different as far as uh, your cultural surroundings. And so, and then Vygotsky goes on and he develops later on the zone of proximal. He basically says that I can do things by myself. I really just kind of need for you to hover over me in the areas in which I really need the help. So the zone of proximal development is defined as the space between what a learner can do without assistance and what the learner can do with an adult guidance or collaboration with more capable peers. Basically, if I put two people together and one is struggling and the other one kind of gets it, Vygotsky says that the zone of proxima will be able to level the playing field, balance things out, per se. And then the things that he's able to do, the student is able to do to go ahead and allow them to do it. And they're using such words as scaffolding to something that's going to help the student along, uh, help him reach the next step or the next level. And then Vygotsky's cognitive development theory argues that cognitive abilities are socially guided and constructed. And I truly believe this. I believe that if you're going to be excited about education, getting an education, you have to be in an educational environment. That means that your classroom has to be um, it has to be a classroom setting. I mean, you don't want to make it feel like home. You really want it to make it feel like a learning center. I guess is what I wanted to say. And then it goes on to say, such as culture serves as the mediator for the abilities. Your culture now, the things about you, serves as a mediator um, for formation and development of specific abilities, just such as learning, memory, attention, and problem solving. Now, uh, this is just one thought process of how we learn, but I kind of like this one as well. So I'm weighing them all out, but I do believe Vygotsky has something going on with this scaffolding, and we use it in the classrooms as well, to help our struggling students. Learning involves the internalization of these signs. Let me read them again: learning, memory, attention, and problem solving. So, the zone are proximal. And then I think this is the last one, which is Skinner's operant conditioning. Basically, is there's four stages of conditioning. Skinner believed that we don't have such a thing. We have such a thing as a mind, but that it is simply more productive to study observational behavior rather than internal mental events. He believed that is the best way to understand behavior is to look at the cause of the action and its consequences. He called this approach operative conditioning. I just try to give you a good definition of what that is. And then he uses the stages as well. So my students would fall under the concrete operational under Skinner as well. Uh, and look at some of the strategies that I chose to use to help my students along, because we're talking about, behavior. These strategies should be very effective in my classroom. Students will have an incentive to display good behavior, seeking the daily reward, just like Skinner says, operative conditioning. So I use buck rewards. Basically, if you did your homework, you get a falcon buck. If you are sitting quietly and attentive, you get a falcon buck. If you turn in, you make a good grade on your quiz or your homework, you get a falcon buck. So these are rewards that kids start to look forward to. And then I've got the treasure box for the end of the week for quizzes, because we have a quiz once a week. So the treasure box is for those that make an 80 and above, 85 and above, and they can get something out of the treasure box, which is normally something cold to drink and a bag of chips. And then there's a smart board rewards. Which basically, I have created a smart board on their iPad, and they're able to have free time at the end of the class period or something of that nature to finish up other class work. And I've got some people that really look forward to that reward because they try to keep up with their work. So these are just some strategies that I thought of when I read Skinner's information, and he's talking about behavior. And how we can basically condition our kids to be good kids by just giving them rewards and watching it work. And then, of course, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they will not get the reward. But my focus is that everyone will come on board and start having a desire to get the reward. So then, the social emotional domain. Strong positive relationships with children develop trust, empathy, compassion, and a sense of right and wrong. Now, I've been talking about the different stages of all of these ideas, and the social emotional stage is the one that really kind of stuck with me. And I tried to find a chart that would relate to my age group, which is my middle school students, and they're 12 to 14 years of age. Now, at this point, I told you they're noticing their appearance more so than they are worrying about walking and tripping over their feet per se. But they're also concerned about other things like relationships, decision making, social awareness. Are they popular or not? Self management. Can I make any decisions for myself, and am I making the right decisions? And self awareness, that goes back to their appearance, what they look like. So these are just some information and some questions that you may want to ask yourself in the chart about your students. When they begin to show these emotions of maturity, is basically what's happening to them. What do you do? How do we help these students? How do we guide them in the right directions? Well, I thought about when I was doing my child assimilation, and I allowed my child to make decisions on her own, and I was only guiding her in her relationships with her friends. I think this is a concept that is really going on here. But as far as a teacher standpoint, these are also some things that we see that our children do not, some skills that our children do not possess in the age group that they're in. So this could be a concern for them because they haven't reached this maturity, this level of maturity. But it also could be a painstaking task for them to go through as middle school. They say middle school is your hardest years, and I truly believe that, especially after I've studied this lesson, that social emotional domain is one of the crucial, most important parts of our students' development, our child's development. as far as that is concerned. This is where you start to see the changes when they stop hanging out with their parents and they start hanging out in their rooms or hanging with their friends. Um, this is where you start to notice whether they're making good decisions or bad decisions. Are their relationships going in the right direction? And as you go along, you're just acting as a home base, a guide to help them through these processes. Again, it develops trust, empathy, compassion, and a sense of right and wrong. And then, of course, this was also the part where I don't know if I might just be talking on social emotional domain. Uh, Erickson, Erickson's psychological theory. Now he has stages as well, and where do we fall into the stages? If we follow the chart, my middle school kids fall under the industry and inferiority stage. Now here, this generally means that students should be able to pay more attention to the quality of their work. Now I took that as from a teacher's point of view, school age college psychology development. Um, at first, they just turn in anything, but as they reach this level, they start to notice, just like they notice their appearance in social emotion, they also start to notice the quality of their work. So I popped in three strategies here. Turn and talk, because communication amongst your peers will assist you in your the quality of your work. You'll have something else to lean on as far as understanding is concerned. So I like turn and talk. My kids communicate and they're able to answer the questions and thoughtfully. Rubrics. I always use a rubric for my kids. I want them to be able to uh, do the best work and the quality of work. So I give them a rubric, a guideline for them to go by, and normally, because they're in the stage where they can follow instructions and guidelines, they do a really good job. I'm always impressed with my projects and the rubrics. And then there's exit tickets. I like exit tickets because sometimes I just ask, what did you learn today? What three things did you learn? What two things do you want to learn more about? And the one thing that you just didn't get, you know. And once they get used to answering the questions in the exit ticket, it really kind of helps me to reflect back on my day as well, and so I can be able to better assist my kids throughout their learning process. So that is the psychological theory, what they think and why they think that way. Uh, it gives them a sense of pride. It gives them a sense of confidence that they can do anything they want to do. So the continuation of the social emotional domain, um, my middle school students here should be at the top of the chart at stage 6, but they are different, and some come to me on all operational levels. I mean, like when they enter 7th grade, they're not all at step 6, individual principles and consciousness. They're not there. And some of them still may be at a 4, conform to avoid censor by authorities. And I still got some that's at a 3. The good boy, the boy and girl moralities conform to disapprove or dislike by other people. So, in saying that, they come to me in all forms, shapes, and sizes, but they are um, all different and seem to come to me on all different operational levels, which is okay with me. Um, they are struggling between levels 3 and 4 on Kohlberg's development chart. My overall goal is to teach the whole child. So no matter what level they come to me on, that's the level I try to reach them. Kohlberg used the Heinz scenario as an example of moral, moral development at its best. He posed the question of stealing a drug to save a life, right or wrong. I believe this could be a good tool to use in my classroom. Strategies, role play, class discussions and debates, persuasive writing assignments and presentations. Just some of the things that I think that kind of uh, goes along with what Kohlberg and the Heinz scenario was what had going on. Should I or should I not? Was that the right thing to do, or should we have done something different? Social, emotional domains. And in conclusion, the development of a child from infancy, early childhood, adolescence, and adulthood has been modeled by the early thinkers of education. The question remains, who was right? I believe from all my studies of the Pearson-Ravel text that they were all right. One level or stage of a child's development has been captured and observed by great minds. Just to name a few, Piaget believes that children learn in stages, and Bandura believes that children should develop a moral compass by age 12 to 14. If you're going to teach to the masses, we must understand how and what they will require to be successful in life. Getting a second chance at motherhood was exciting as well throughout this process. After studying the material, I did make some changes in my parenting styles. I have learned to be more carefree and watch my child develop throughout each challenge put before her. I allowed her to make her own decisions, and she only used me as a home base, as a guide, to make sure that she was doing the right things. The concept of physical, cognitive, and social development will assist in the process of teaching the whole child. They are all work together to develop in one whole being. This cargo is precious. Please handle it with care. And my references, I only use the Dynamic Child, Pearson. Um, it was filled with information, and that was the only reference that I used to complete my presentation. And this concludes my presentation. I thank you for your time and your patience.